The air was thick with the sour stench of diesel and the damp chill of wet concrete as I slipped through the shadows of the warehouse lot, my boots crunching softly on loose gravel beneath the flickering sodium lights. It was well past midnight, a muggy Thursday in June, the kind of night where the humidity clings to your skin like a second shirt. I'd tracked my girl Mia's phone to this rundown industrial sprawl after she'd gone dark on me. Her texts tapering off from, "I'm busy, babe," to nothing but silence, leaving me pacing our apartment like a caged animal. She'd been flaky for weeks, always working late at her bartending gig, coming home with excuses that didn't quite add up. I figured she was stressed, maybe picking up extra shifts, but my gut wouldn't quit nagging me. I never dreamed I'd catch her like this. I spot my cousin Jake's weathered semi parked crooked behind a stack of splintered crates, its cab rocking just enough to catch my eye. Engine off, but the interior lights glowing a faint, sickly yellow. My pulse kicks up, thudding in my ears, and I creep closer, ducking low, until I'm peering through the grimy passenger window. And there she is, my Mia, wild blonde hair spilling everywhere. Curves I'd traced 1,000 times, straddling Jake in the driver's seat. Their lips are locked tight, hands roaming in a frantic, heated tangle. The cab a mess of motion and betrayal under the dim dashboard glow. My keys slip from my shaky fingers, clattering loud against the pavement, and they jolt apart like they've been shocked. Mia's blue eyes snap wide, her lipstick smeared across her cheek in a messy streak, shirt half open, exposing the edge of her bra. Jake, my lanky, tattooed cousin, leans back with a smug grin, like he's just won a bet. "Whoa man, hold up," he starts, voice lazy, but Mia cuts in, scrambling off him, her hands fumbling to pull her shirt closed. "Babe, wait, I can explain," she pleads, her voice high and cracking as she swings the door open, nearly tripping over the step. I'm rooted there, chest caving in like I've been sucker punched, anger surging up my throat like bile. My girl and my cousin? In his grimy truck. The warehouse looms silent around us, a hulking witness, and all I can think is, how did my whole world just collapse in a parking lot under these buzzing lights? Let's rewind a couple months, because the warning signs were there, flashing like road flares on a dark highway, and I was too caught up or too trusting to piece them together. Mia's always been a spark, blonde hair that catches the light like a halo, a smirk that could charm anyone, the kind of girl who lights up a dive bar with a laugh or turns heads at a late-night hangout without even trying. We met 2 years back at a bonfire down by the river. She was pouring shots of whiskey from a bottle she'd swiped, grinning wide, while I was hunched over a buddy's busted tailgate, wrench in hand trying to play the hero. The connection hit fast, electric. She locked eyes with me across the flames, and I was gone. She moved into my cramped apartment 6 months later, all whirlwind energy and big dreams, promising we'd make it big together. Lately, though, she'd been off, rolling in past 2 a.m., her hair smelling like cigarette smoke and something sharper, maybe cheap cologne or spilled liquor, brushing off my "where you been" with a quick peck on the cheek and a breezy, "Don't worry, babe, it's all good." She'd been glued to her phone, tapping away at odd hours, her thumbs flying over the screen, claiming it was extra shifts at the bar or catching up with some new friends from work. I'd ask who, and she'd shrug, tossing out vague names. Jenny, Mike. Like it was no big deal. Then there's Jake, my cousin from Dad's side, showing up more often, crashing on my lumpy couch with his duffel bag and that cocky vibe he's carried since we were kids. He's a trucker, always hauling odd loads across state lines, bragging about side hustles that paid cash. No questions asked. His stories full of shady truck stops and late-night deals. I thought it was cool, him and Mia hitting it off, late-night chats by the kitchen counter over cans of cheap beer, her giggling at his goofy tales of breakdowns on I-80 or near misses with highway cops. I'd catch them whispering over coffee in the mornings, heads close, her leaning in like he was spilling gold, and he'd clap my shoulder on his way out, saying, "She's a keeper, bro, don't mess it up." I'd smile, proud, thinking they were just tight because of me, family sticking together. Now it's painfully obvious. They weren't just chatting. They were plotting something behind my back. Jake's new boots, scuffed but pricey, Mia's fancy earrings dangling when she'd tilt her head, She'd shrug and say, "Tips were good this week." But I should have pressed her, dug into where the cash was really coming from. That night at the warehouse, with the semi's engine still ticking from the heat, it all crashed into place, and I felt like a complete fool, blind to the two people I trusted with my whole heart. I'm shouting now, my voice raw and jagged, bouncing off the warehouse walls like a gunshot ringing through the night. "What's going on, Mia? My cousin? Are you serious right now?" She's climbing out of the cab, tugging her shirt closed over her chest, begging, "Babe, just listen, it's not what it looks like, I swear." Her hands trembling, tears streaking her mascara into dark smudges that trail down her cheeks like black rivers. Jake's still grinning, leaning back in the driver's seat like he owns the whole lot, but then I hear it, a low, rough cough from the trailer hitched to the cab, cutting through the tension like a rusty blade. My head jerks up, eyes narrowing, and there's Dad, gray beard streaked with grease, faded flannel shirt untucked, stepping out from the shadows of the trailer's open door, wiping his hands on a stained rag like he's been tinkering back there all night. "Guess you caught us in the act, huh, son?" he says, his tone calm and steady, like he's asking if I fixed the sink yet. My mind blanks out, a cold sweat prickling down my spine, my breath catching hard. "Dad? The guy who raised me, taught me how to swap a tire and throw a decent punch? He's part of this?" Mia's face falls, a sob breaking free from her throat, her hands flying to her mouth as if she could stuff the sound back in. Jake hops down from the cab, all serious now, pulling a duffel bag from under the seat and unzipping it with a quick flick. "We're smuggling fake crypto keys, man," he says, revealing stacks of USB drives inside, their tiny LED lights blinking faintly like a swarm of fireflies trapped in the dark fabric. 5 mil worth of counterfeit codes ready to sell. Your pops is the money man behind it all. Dad nods, no hint of guilt in his weathered face, like this is just another day at the shop. "Been funneling cash through my garage for months," he says, stuffing the rag in his pocket. "Legit repair funds in, fake keys out to the buyers, clean and simple." My legs nearly give out as the truth slams into me like a brick wall. My girl's not just cheating with Jake, they're running a counterfeit crypto racket funded by my own father, the man who swore he'd always have my back. The betrayal cuts deeper than I can handle, a jagged wound tearing through me. I'm trembling, hands balled into fists so tight my nails dig into my palms, staring at them, Mia's frantic, pleading eyes, Jake's smug tilt of the head, Dad's steady, unblinking gaze, while the warehouse looms around us. It's silence mocking the chaos ripping my life apart. I don't stop to think, I just act, pure instinct kicking in as the anger takes the wheel and floors it. The truck's fuel tank catches my eye, a big, dented barrel bolted to the chassis, a loose hose dangling from Jake's sloppy parking job, swaying slightly in the night breeze. I spot a flare gun in an open toolbox by the crates, red plastic, loaded, part of Jake's so-called emergency kit he always bragged about, and grab it fast, aiming it at them with a hand that won't stop shaking. "You're finished," I growl, my voice rough and low, barely holding steady. Mia cries out, "No, please, don't do this," rushing toward me with wide eyes, her boots slipping on the gravel as she tries to grab my arm. I push her back, she stumbles hard, slamming into the cab door with a sharp thud, her gasp echoing in the quiet. Jake charges, yelling, "You've lost your mind," swinging a tire iron he snatched from the seat, his arm arcing fast. I duck just in time, the metal whistles past my shoulder, clipping me hard enough to send a jolt of pain down my arm, but I keep my grip on the flare gun. Dad's hollering from the trailer, "Cut it out, both of you, stop this now," his voice rising with a rare edge of panic, but I'm beyond hearing him, beyond caring. I point the flare gun at the fuel hose, my thumb hovering over the trigger, and fire, a red streak hisses out, slicing through the dark and hitting the tank dead on. It ignites fast, a whoosh of flame erupts, then a roar as the gas catches, heat blasting my face like I've stepped into an oven. I dive behind a crate, hitting the ground hard as the truck explodes. Boom, a fireball swallows the cab hole, metal buckling with a groan, windows shattering into a spray of glass that glints in the firelight, the shockwave rattling the warehouse floor beneath me. Debris flies everywhere, chunks of scorched rubber from the tires, a twisted chunk of the door, bits of those USB drives glowing like dying embers in the wreckage scattered across the pavement. I think they're gone, swallowed by the inferno I unleashed, their scam burned to nothing. But then I spot them through the smoke. Jake limping, one leg dragging, Mia coughing hard, her hands pressed to her chest, Dad dragging them both toward his pickup parked across the lot, its headlights cutting through the haze. They're alive, bolting away, leaving me sprawled in the ashes, the flare gun still warm in my grip, sirens whining closer as the fire leaps to the crates, licking at the warehouse walls with hungry orange tongues. I'm staggering through the warehouse now, smoke burning my eyes until they water, the crackle of flames swallowing what's left of the truck's twisted skeleton, the heat pressing against my back like a living thing. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Mia's name flashing on the cracked screen over and over, but I rip it out and toss it into the fire, watching it melt into the chaos with a faint sizzle. Done with her voice for good. They've got their $5 million scam locked away in those counterfeit keys, and I've got nothing but scorched jeans, a bruised shoulder throbbing with every move, and a storm of rage churning inside me that won't settle. Cop lights flash down the road, red and blue cutting through the night, and I hear Jake's voice shouting as they peel out in Dad's truck, gravel spitting under the tires. He torched it. He's unhinged. It's all on him. They're framing me, the explosion, the whole mess, painting me as the bad guy to save their own skins. I saw those USB labels, Keyforge_5M, etched into the plastic, and I know they've got the master code stashed somewhere, maybe in Jake's logbook or Dad's shop files. I could sprint to my bike parked 2 blocks away, chase them down the highway, dig up those codes, blow their racket wide open, turn this nightmare around, maybe even salvage something from the wreckage of my life by exposing them to the feds. But my ankle's twisted, swelling hot under my boot, and the warehouse is a fire trap, flames climbing higher, crates popping and snapping as they catch. I'm the one holding the flare gun when the cops roll in, their radios crackling with static, flashlights sweeping the lot. Do I run? Track them down, clear my name, make them pay for tearing my world apart with their lies? Or stay, face the heat, hope the truth surfaces before I'm cuffed and hauled off as the fall guy? Mia's last cry echoes in my head. I didn't mean it. And it stings, hollow and empty after everything she's done. Time's running out. Sirens blare loud now. Boots hit the ground. The fire roars behind me. Smoke curling thick. Run or stand. Forgive or fight. I'm pinned, folks. What's your take? Drop it in the comments because I'm out of moves, staring down this mess, and I need your input to figure out what comes next. Thank you very much for listening to this story to the end. I hope you liked. We work for you, looking for and telling you the most effective stories about women's betrayal, shocking intrigue, interweaving the plot and unexpected reactions of angry men. Save us, put likes, write comments, and, of course, subscribe to the channel to not miss any story.